Hello friends, today we're going to be talking about how to get started as a real estate investor. Does the thought of getting started as a real estate investor sound overwhelming? It can for sure, but just remember, the expert was also once a beginner. So don't feel overwhelmed, because by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how I got started as a real estate investor. I will break down for you how I did my first few deals. I will also explain why you need to educate yourself and how to do that. Next, I want to give you the little golden nugget that you must learn in order to become a real estate investor. Finally, I want to help you understand how your passion and niches might already be a catalyst to get started as a real estate investor. If you're ready, let's go. So when I first got started in real estate, I didn't have a ton of experience. I actually had zero experience. I didn't even have that much education or knowledge about real estate. I just knew that I wanted to get started in it because I knew a lot of people that I met in my life had become wealthy through real estate investing. So I started searching in an area that I was pretty familiar with. I knew that a junior college was becoming a 4-year institution and that there was going to be some pretty tremendous growth in the area. So I started looking and I saw that there were some fourplexes for sale. And I called a number. It was an ad that was put in the paper. It was actually the individual who was the head of a group that were building these fourplexes. And I called the individual, said, hey, I'm interested in maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 fourplexes. And he said, interesting. We've got a lot that are for sale. And if you're willing to buy a handful of these, we're willing to give you a pretty good deal. So after multiple conversations with the individual, we had agreed upon buying 8 fourplexes, and he'd given us a pretty significant deal for that. So when I talked to him, I didn't have the money to buy the real estate, but I had a couple of friends of mine that were really good friends. We were close, we'd done business together, and they were interested in investing in real estate. They had some additional money that they wanted to allocate towards some other investments. And it came to that he and his partners spoke and they said, listen, to give you the deal we're hoping you'll buy actually more than 8. Now, I wasn't prepared for that. And they end up saying, we'd love you to buy 14 of these because on this specific development, 7 fourplexes down one row had 7 fourplexes behind it, which made up a spine. And they wanted to get rid of this whole spine of fourplexes, which would have been 14 fourplexes at the time. Now, in order to do that, they said they would even discount it even further. I got really excited and said, let's do it. And so I got these 14 fourplexes under contract. Now, given I didn't have any of my own money to do this. I had a little bit of money to get invested, but not even close to what it required to take down these fourplexes. So I went back to my partners, excited as could be, say, listen, I've actually not only got 8, I've got 14 of these fourplexes that we can purchase and really begin our real estate investing career. And they came back to me and said, listen, we're only planning on 8, but we'd sure love to have the same discount they're offering at 14 at 8. So I was kind of in a conundrum. I was like, what should I do at this point? I had an individual approach me and say, listen, I know you're looking for real estate up there. I know you're engaged up there. I'm interested. I heard you're buying some fourplexes. What can you get me? So I was able to come to this individual and say, listen, I've got 6 of these fourplexes that I could offload on you. If that's something you're interested in, I can just assign the contract to you. So I had it under contract for $245,000 per fourplex. I know that sounds like a great deal right now, but this is about almost 20 years ago when I was investing in my first deal in real estate. So I went back to him and said, listen, I'm willing to assign these contracts over to you for $255,000. Now, what a great deal for him, right? He was thinking $275,000. He was getting them for $255,000. I had him under contract for $245,000. So I was making $10,000 per fourplex on 6 of these fourplexes just by assigning the contract that I had with this group over to a gentleman who was looking to invest in the same area I was. I made $60,000 on that deal, and at the same time, I was able to secure the other 8 fourplexes for my partners and myself that we would hold on to for many years. With that, I was able to take that $60,000 and I parlayed that into 2 lots up in Island Park, Idaho, close to Yellowstone. Each lot was an acre lot selling for $27,500. I purchased those 2 lots with the money I got from assigning the contract over to a friend of mine for his 6 fourplexes. Ironically, probably about 5 years after that, I sold one of those lots in Island Park that I bought for $27,500. I sold it for $108,000. So it ended up being a really good deal for me and my family. And I all got started because I just had the passion to get started in real estate. Now, not every situation is going to turn out that well, and I definitely had some ups and downs in my career, but I'll tell you, you need to educate yourself. And why do you need to educate yourself? If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to encounter a lot of mistakes. When I say the expert was once a beginner, I'm sure that beginner, though, gave it his all. He jumped in full force. And this is no different. You've got to be willing to soak up the information. And no matter how you find that information, you've just got to be willing to soak it in, to get after it, and to make sure that you're learning these things and applying these things when you get started as a real estate investor. Now, if somebody were to say to me, what is the most important thing to do to get started as a real estate investor? And I would say to them, the most important thing you can become the best at is finding deals. If you're able to find deals, negotiate deals, find those deals that other people aren't willing to find or able to find, you are going to do great as a real estate investor, because if you find the deal, there are going to be people that are willing to invest with you in that deal, because the money is made in the deal. The money is made in that negotiation of that initial purchase. You know, take the fourplexes, for example, that I talked to you about. I mean, they retailed at $275,000. By the time it was all said and done, each fourplex that I was purchasing was $245,000. It was $30,000 less than the retail price they were listing for in that little ad in the newspaper that I called in on. So how else can you educate yourself? Well, one easy way is to form or join local real estate investor clubs. Now you say, what are these? Well, they're probably people like yourself that want to get started in real estate, and they're willing to use best practices. They're willing to use the collective genius of a group to help educate each other and raise each other up. And I love this concept. I love these groups. Matter of fact, I still go to a group every week in the small town that I live in, and there's only about 8 to 10 of us. But learning from individuals and what they do in real estate, it helps me have ideas, and I can share with them my experiences so we all can help each other elevate our game when it comes to real estate investing. You know, I know an individual who he got started by local real estate investor clubs, and he grew that club to where he had chapters in other cities. It is a great way to educate yourself. Another great way is just going to or participating in planning and zoning meetings that happen at a city or county level within your own community. That is a great way to understand different rules and regulations that you might not be familiar with, or understanding what's going on in your community where opportunities might be because developments are happening in certain areas. It might provide you with insight that you otherwise wouldn't have had you not participated in these meetings. Now, another way to educate yourself is either through a coach or mentor. Now, I'm a big fan of this, and I've used a lot of coaches and mentors in my life when it comes to anything that I've tried to learn on my own, right? I just feel like it's a way to fast track your education. Now, there's different types of coaches and mentors. There's ones that you pay a lot of money for, and there's ones that you might pay a lot less for. Honestly, I think you get what you pay for. And one other way to educate yourself that I'm a big fan of is mastermind groups. I'm part of a national mastermind that meets about real estate education and real estate investing, probably every other week on a Zoom call, and then twice a year in person. It's a phenomenal way. I'm constantly learning amazing things from this group. And so if you really want to get started as a real estate investor, you've got to put in that time, energy, even some money to educate yourself. It's probably one of the best investments you'll ever make, is investing in yourself, especially when it comes to something like real estate that you know can be a catalyst to help you reach your financial goals and dreams. So you might already have a passion when it comes to real estate. You might be really good at DIY projects. You might be good at home interior design. These things might already help you to get started in real estate. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, for example, I met an individual a couple weeks ago at a dinner. This individual was a handyman. He started doing restoration projects for individuals on a home, and this group would hire him every time to go in and redo a kitchen, redo a bathroom, or whatever it might be. The interesting thing is he realized this group was buying these homes that were distressed, and they were hiring him to fix it up so they could turn around and sell it. He soon realized, if they're doing this, why can't I do this? So he started looking to find deals. He found some deals that were distressed, that were maybe not very pleasing to the eye, and he went in and got it under contract, purchased it, and was able to put his skill and passion to use, then turn around, beautify that project or that property, and turn around and sell it for a profit. So if you have something that you're good at already, and it might be in that construction world, it might be around design, it might be around home DIY projects, by knowing that and by doing that, you might have these passions, you might have this expertise in an area already in real estate that you can go in and turn around and take a project that doesn't look very good and beautify it and be able to sell it for a gain. So your passions, what you're good at, can already elevate your game when it comes to real estate investing. But I'll say ultimately the most important thing is just jumping in and doing it. The best way to learn is by trial and error and doing it. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be a learning curve, there's going to be some trial and error that comes with that model. But if you never start, you're probably never going to begin. And so by going in and say, listen, I'm excited about this. I'm going to educate myself, but I'm also going to start looking for deals, and I'm going to put offer out there on deals. Now, I understand some of these offers might not be accepted, but that's okay, because you're probably going to be putting offers out there at much lower than people are asking for, or a creative situation that might happen 1 out of 10 times. But that's why it's important to just get started, because it might take you 10, 20 times to put offers on things or looking for deals before one actually happens. I've met so many people in my career that when I ask them how they got started as a real estate investor, they'll tell me, you know what? I just jumped in and started doing it. I didn't know what I was doing. I had passion for it. I knew a little bit to be dangerous, but just by me doing it helped propel me forward to the real estate career that I have now. And one individual, one story, there's a gentleman that I met through this family mastermind group that I'm a part of. It was amazing. He got started just as a brand new 26-year-old kid, never had experience in real estate, but he knew he wanted to do it. He was going to different masterminds, different camps, different coaches, and he started doing it rehabs, right? He would buy properties, he would fix them up, he'd flip them, right? Fix and flip. And at this point, probably 2 years after I met him, he's about 28 right now, he is now paying somebody tens of thousands of dollars a month to help him generate leads for real estate education. He's gotten so good at what he's done, he has now become the expert, and he's educating others to do what he has once done. So this has been my experience in real estate investing. This is how I got started, but I'd love to hear your stories, right? Everybody's different. So please go ahead, comment, leave me a comment. I'll respond. I'd love to know what you've done. And as always, I've got a free gift for you. It's aaronsfreetraining.com. Just click on the link below and you get a free short-term rental calculator. You put the numbers in and it lets you know if it's a good deal or not. Once again, thanks for visiting, watching the video. Have an awesome day.